This movie will look at the copy or apply dialog in WinDoor 13. This is a new feature that allows you to very quickly copy settings from one WinDoor object to one or more other WinDoor objects. If we select an object, you access this dialog from copy or apply, and you'll see that there are 3 copy choices and 3 apply choices. You can copy from the selected WinDoor object. You can copy from the default settings for the file, and the default settings are reached by clicking the WinDoor icon in the tool set here and clicking the Preferences button in the mode bar. Finally, you can copy from the WinDoor Symbols folder, and in this folder not only can you save WinDoor items that may be particular types of windows, but you could also save WinDoor symbols that have a particular color setup or a particular sill setup, or maybe some architrave or trim settings or a head setting or something like that. Something that you may want to use in a future project or later on in the current project. So once you've chosen the copy option, you can then choose how these settings are applied. You can apply them to the default settings for this file. You can apply them to the selected WinDoor object or objects, and remember that in Vectorworks 2008 you can select multiple windows and doors at the same time in walls, and you can apply them to the choice that you choose from this menu here, which could be all WinDoor objects or windows, all doors, etc. And you have the option to apply the settings only to objects on the active layer only. And finally, you can choose the attributes to apply. And you can copy the whole thing and have it all its settings, or you might just want 1 or 2 of these settings. For example, you might just want to copy the trim and sill settings, or the class settings, or the ID settings. So you can selectively choose what gets copied and apply those to the object. And you'll notice here that this don't apply width or angles. This also allows you to copy a different type of window but leave the size of your current window that you're applying the settings to unchanged. So even though you might have saved an item in your library that has a different size, it just means that the sizes won't be applied to the object that you're applying to. Let's take a look then at where these symbols are coming from. They're part of the default content system, and if we switch to the Finder, there's 2 places where you can look for them. Actually, there's more than 2, but we'll talk about all of the places. The default location is in the Vectorworks 2008 folder. In there is a folder called Libraries, in there is a folder called Defaults, and further down is a folder called WinDoor. And if you're just going to use these without editing them or anything like that, you can leave them here. Most people, though, are going to edit either the ID symbols or add or change the content of the default symbols folder, in which case we recommend that you take them out of this location and put them somewhere that's going to get backed up and that's not going to get overwritten if you happen to reinstall Vectorworks. And that is in your user folder. Now, your user folder is defined in Vectorworks Preferences, and I'll look at that in a moment. On a Mac, the default user folder is you click your Mac hard drive and then you click Users, your username, Library, Application Support, Vectorworks 2008, and there you'll see a similar folder structure as in the Vectorworks folder, and looking there you'll see the WinDoor folder. So if you want to customize these files, move them from here, you can leave this WinDoor folder here, but take both of the files inside there and move them over into this WinDoor folder in your defaults folder here. On Windows, the default location, again on the computer, if you see your C drive or whatever your main hard drive is, there's a folder called Program Files. This is where all your programs or applications are stored, and here's the Vectorworks 2008 folder, and looking there we'll see exactly the same structure we saw on the Mac. Libraries, Defaults, and scrolling down you'll see WinDoor, IDs and Symbols. The default user folder on Windows is in your C drive or your main computer, users, administrator, app data, roaming, Nemetschek, Vectorworks 2008, and then we're into the same folder structure as we've seen before. And scrolling down, you'll see the WinDoor folder, and in here are the files, which in this case I have copied across. So if you're going to customize these files, take them out of the Vectorworks folder and put them into your user folder so that they don't get overwritten if you reinstall the software, and so that they get backed up. Now let's take a look at how you choose the user folder. And here we are in Vectorworks Preferences, and there's a new tab in Vectorworks 2008 called User Folders. And here at the top is the default location. This is the one that I just described: Users, Administrator, App Data, Roaming, Nemetschek, Vectorworks 2008. And you can set this folder by clicking the Choose button here. You can also open this folder directly by clicking Explore. And here we are directly in that folder. And if you remember, it was Libraries, Defaults, and in here we'll find WinDoor down the bottom, and there are our symbols. Now, if you're working in an office that you have a number of people who are going to be sharing these resources, then the recommended place is in a workgroup or project folder, and typically this would be located on the server. And to create an additional folder structure similar to the one that we've just been looking at, you click the Add button here and you choose a location on your server, and that's where you put all of your default content. And then Vectorworks will read that default content from that server location. And what that means is that everybody is using the same default symbol library, and if it's getting backed up at the end of each day, and so on. Now let's go back to Vectorworks on the Mac, and we'll just cancel out of that, and I'll show you one other thing. If you have created a window or door that you want to save to your symbols folder, then you can do that by converting it to a symbol and then exporting it. Now typically you're probably going to want to put one of these, it wants to be in a wall. So let's say this is the one that you want to send out to your default content file. So we select that, and it's a WinDoor 13 object in the wall. We go to Modify, Create Symbol, and we give it an appropriate name. Now this is a folding door, so let's give it FD, and maybe you've got some system worked out here. It's got 2 doors on the left and 4 doors on the right, so we might go 2/4 or something like that. But come up with a reasonable naming convention that everyone will understand. Let's leave an instance in place. We'll use the plugin origin and click OK. And it's going to ask us where in this file we want to put it. We'll just leave it at the root level. And this is now a symbol. To export this to my library, I just right click on it, and you can't see it at the bottom of this list, but there's a choice that says Export. I can choose Export, and here I have my user folder, and I can scroll down here, and here's the WinDoor folder. I haven't got any files in there on the Mac, but if I had files in there on the Mac, I could save them there. And I just click OK, and that symbol will be exported and put into the library file, and the next time I use the copy or replace, I can then access that particular symbol. Now we don't want this to be a symbol anymore, so we can just go to Modify, Convert to Plugin Objects. Just leave it on the first option here, click OK, and we are now back as a WinDoor 13 object in the file. If you want to totally clean up this, you would then go to the resource browser for this file, and under symbols you would see that symbol that we just created. We no longer need it. It's already saved in our default library file, so we can right click on that and choose delete, and we're done.